Hi, welcome to the Urban Outdoorsman SoCal video. My name is Danny Milton, and today we're going to be talking about the YT Jeffsy. The model that I rode was the 2019 CF Pro 29er. So this video is going to be part one of a two-part series. In this first video, we're going to talk about, the bike. We're going to look at the bike. We're going to look at the components, some of the geometry, and I'm going to give you kind of an initial feel of how it felt climbing and the first trail or two that I went downhill on it. So before we get into the video, please do all that fun stuff for me. Hit that like button, share these videos, leave comments down below if you have any questions. Definitely subscribe to the channel, I'd really appreciate it. Also, I just opened a Patreon account, so if you want to support the channel even further, go ahead and click that link down in the description as well, and you can support the channel like that. So YT is one of the local companies here in Southern California, and I just got turned on to them by a couple of subscribers actually that had left me comments in one of my previous videos telling me that you can, go straight to their shop down in San Clemente and demo bikes right out of their main office there. And what's really great is they actually have an online form that you can fill out. It's the Bike Rental Manager. I'll put a link for that down in the description. You can go on there and you can actually pick a day and pick a time, and whichever bike that they have in stock, you can set up that time to do the demo, and you can, ride that demo for anywhere from an hour to 2 hours. And part two of this video will be coming out in probably about a week or so. I'm going to be going down, the same area, but I did go back a second day and ride the bike again. I'm going to let you know how it felt climbing after I've done a bunch of climbs on the bike, how it did, going down some of the faster trail, some of the better trails there, going a little bit faster. I went down Car Crash a couple times. I went down Talladega Nights and Ricky Bobby.
What did you say his name was again?
His name is Ricky Bobby.
Ricky Bobby, he's got two first names.
Probably a total of about 3 or 4 times. And I'll let you know how it did overall. So we're gonna go over the geometry of the bike really quick. And I made a mistake when I did, actually both of the times that I rode this bike. I thought I was looking at the geometry specs for the 2020 model. And this is actually said, it's like the 2019 model. So all of the geometry that I thought this bike had was off a little bit. The head tube angle on this bike is 67 degrees, which is really steep for any bike that I've ever ridden. Most of the bikes that I ride are enduro type bikes, and they're anywhere from 63.5 to 65 degrees for that head tube angle. The seat tube angle is really steep at 78 degrees, which is by far the steepest seat tube angle I've ever ridden on a bike. Most enduro bikes are anywhere from 73 to about 77 degrees. The reach is about equivalent to the bike I have now. The reach for this bike is 494 millimeters. The stack height is 633 millimeters, which is a little bit lower than the HD5, definitely higher than my Giant Rain. And the wheelbase is a little bit shorter at 1,244 millimeters. The front fork is a RockShox Pike RCT3, which has the high speed and low speed compression. The rear shock is a RockShox Deluxe single tube. The brakes are the SRAM Guide RS 4-piston brakes. And the drivetrain is the SRAM GX Eagle with a 10 to 50 tooth cassette in the rear and a 34 tooth chainring in the front. Wheels and tires are provided by E13, and this bike retails for $4,000. So most of what I've felt and thought about this bike, I'm going to be talking throughout all of the POV footage as I'm climbing the hills and going downhill as well. Bike is comfortable so far. Go down this little intermediate trail, head over towards some of the black trails. This will be a nice little warm-up. Let's get a feel for the bike. I feel very high, up in an upright position, pedaling right now. It's got a GX drivetrain, so I'm very used to that. Just kind of rolling through this little kind of like single track. Let's see, out of the saddle pedaling. Nice and solid up that little part. Steering feels good. Front end, not going very fast right now, but it doesn't feel like the front end is understeering at all. We are dealing with some SRAM brakes though, unfortunately. So that'll take a little bit of getting used to. There's just so much more progressive than my XTs. Stable. It's not too much. It's not overly, you know, the rebound doesn't seem too high. Obviously I could change that. Yeah, this bike is definitely not understeering. Those were two relatively sharp turns. Not that I'm going super fast yet, but it's doing what I want it to do. And I don't feel this bike bobbing at all. It's very solid, very stable. Has a decent wheelbase, like 1255, very close to my Giant Rain. The reach, this is an extra large frame. The reach could probably be a little bit longer, but this bike being a kind of like a trail bike, like a kind of all mountain kind of bike, you know, with 150 travel, probably want the reach to be a little bit shorter, because you are going to be climbing, you know, more on this bike than you would, let's say, on an enduro bike. So it's comfortable. It's not too short, but it feels good. The seat post, the seat tube angle, super steep at 77. That's the steepest seat tube angle I've ridden. And it's like I'm looking straight down and I can barely see the front half of my foot through the entire pedal stroke, only on the last quarter part of the down, because I'm just so close to that vertical line above the cranks. It's really nice and comfortable to pedal on, uphill, downhill. Nice little steep part here. In the saddle pedaling, no movement in the rear end at all. Not that it's feel, you know, not that you can feel, which is really nice. This is gonna be our first downhill trail. Like I said, well, I haven't said before, I haven't ridden any of these trails. We're not gonna go too crazy. This trail that we're on right now is called Sloppy Seconds on Trail Forks. It shows that it's a Black Diamond trail, so let's see how it goes. First trail on the Jeffsy. Just got the GoPro. Whew, little jumpy there. Got a couple little steep parts here. Oh, nice big jump off that drop. Bike is feeling pretty planted so far. Dirt is like super soft, almost muddy in some parts. Woo! All right, this is okay. I can see why this is called Sloppy Seconds. Lost my foot there. Let's see if we can. Woo! Oh wow! So that's the high part. Yeah, this has gotten a lot of water runoff, and it's very muddy and chunky. Oh God, I'm sliding all over the place. That's not good. Well, now I know why it's called Sloppy Seconds. All right, so we're about to go down Ricky Bobby on the Jeffsy 29. Really happy with the bike so far. We'll see how this trail goes. And I gotta hurry my ass back and return this thing. Is this supposed to be a Black Diamond trail? Oh, did I miss the top part of it? I might have missed the top part of it. This is the part that connects. Oh yeah, bike is very nimble in these turns. Steering just the way you want it to. All right, that was a big drop that I wasn't planning on. Bike took it pretty well though. It's a lot of big jumps and doubles all over this trail. If you want to jump some good sized gap jumps, Ricky Bobby's the trail for you. This bike is really planted. So overall, this bike did really well the first day that I rode it. It was, I'm looking at my notes here, it's very capable, it's very comfortable bike, very comfortable pedaling. You know, it feels like the reach is actually even shorter than 494. It felt very upright because of that really steep seat tube angle. So one thing I will say is a couple times where I had to, you know, roll off like a steep little drop or something, I did hit my butt on the rear tire a couple of times. That happens every once in a while. The head tube angle is a little bit steeper than I'm used to, and you wouldn't have to lean quite as far back or get quite as low on like an enduro bike, because this is an all mountain bike. I did have to get a little farther back off, you know, off onto that rear tire, and probably a little bit lower just because of that difference in geometry. But still, I mean, it was just it was a couple of times, and it's probably something I would just kind of grow out of if I kept riding this bike. The front end was very nimble compared to, you know, some of the bikes that I've ridden recently, like the Mega Tower and the High Tower. I didn't like the front end, the way that the front end of those bikes felt at all. They're very slow to steer, and they would understeer a lot, even at speed for me. The Giant 29er, the new Giant Range 29er, was very nimble. Doesn't feel like a 29er at all to me. And this bike felt similar to that Giant 29er, whereas, you know, once I started getting some speed and going through berm sections, and where I'd have to really like pick my line through, the front end of this bike did really well so far, and it was very quick. So the other great thing about YT is that their prices are so affordable. Kind of similar to like Canyon. These are a factory direct, you know, bike company. So you order the bike online and they ship it to you pretty much assembled. All you really have to do is like put the handlebars and the tires on. I would definitely recommend you, if you do live in the area or relatively close, to go on their website and click that link down below to the bike rental manager. That way you can set up a demo for yourself and try this bike out. So definitely tune in for part 2 of this video. I go back another day, ride the same bike, and I go down a couple more trails. I go down like Car Crash Trail, and I go down Ricky Bobby a couple more times. Definitely a lot faster than I did the first day, just because, you know, I hadn't ridden those trails before. But now that I kind of know, you know, what to expect, you can kind of push yourself a little bit harder. And I'll let you know how it did climbing all those times I had to climb back up to the top, and also how it felt going down those trails much faster, and a couple steeper parts in Car Crash. Also, some of the things I have coming up in the future is I'm going to be going back and definitely riding the Capra, the YT Capra. That's more of an enduro style bike. More travel, slacker head tubes, and all that kind of stuff as well. Next week, the first week of February, I'm also going to be heading out to Zion National Park. I'm going to be doing the Subway hike and also the Angel's Landing hike. What else? In the third week of February, I'm heading out to Yosemite to do the try and get pictures of the firefall. So I'm going to have a bunch of videos, you know, for the Capra, me going out to Zion, heading out to Firefall. And then coming in March is going to be the Sedona Mountain Bike Festival. So definitely stay tuned. I've got a bunch of videos and all kinds of pictures and stuff from all of that coming up pretty soon. Okay, so the last couple of things we're going to do all that fun stuff. Hit that like button, share, comment. If you have any questions, leave those down below. I respond to the questions usually pretty quickly. Definitely subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. If you want to support me further, head on over to my Patreon account. That link is down below in the description. You can do that. And the last thing you can do is click on one of these videos up in the corners here. One's going to take you to a rides playlist, another to a recent video. And always, you can click on that logo in the center, the Urban Outdoorsman SoCal logo, to subscribe. Thanks a lot.